I started studying French because I loved the language. I thought it was beautiful, but I also was introduced to studying cultures and how people can do things very differently in a very similar way. And I was fascinated by it. I've always been fascinated by people of different cultures. And growing up, my mother was very big advocate of inviting and accepting people of different cultures into my life, and it really broadened opened my mind up. And so, as I teach my students, I ask them these questions. So this is how they do it in France. How would you like to incorporate this in your life? Is this something that you could start doing? Do you believe that the way we do it in our society is the right way? Just to start thinking, hey, I could live differently. I'm in control of those decisions. And so as I teach my students about migrants and multiculturalism, we come across this topic of how that affects us in our society right now, America. So as we talk about that issue in racism as well and integration in France right now, we think about, well, these people have just been displaced from their homes where they feel at home and lovely, and they're with all the people that understand them and get them in their community, and they're thrown into this place that is foreign, and they're all of a sudden super poor here and treated horribly because of the way the government has decided to run that program and deal with them. And it's a really sad situation, and it's kind of hard to decide how we can really affect that at a government level. Then we can't exactly all the time. Maybe you can vote, but we can't decide how our tax money is always used, but we can decide how we treat people. And that's what I try to run home to my students, is that you've got to treat every single person with respect and love, and to decide on an individual basis how you will, if they deserve that respect and love, but decide on characteristics, not on skin color or poverty or language that they're speaking. Okay, and so recently, a couple years ago, I decided that I wanted to travel the world with my family. The biggest thing was I wanted to see what the reality of the world was, not what I was seeing on the TV, not the fear-mongering of racism everywhere or hate or stereotypes being thrown out on everybody. Mexicans, Islam, everywhere. I wanted to know for myself, have real interactions with these people, and it was amazing. It was amazing to see, as I traveled to all these different countries, how similar we really are, how wonderful the world is. It is a beautiful place filled with beautiful people who are so much better than the society I live in, really. I was met on the daily with people who invited me into their homes, didn't even know me, just wanted to share, smiled, couldn't speak my language. They just wanted to share their world with me, whatever they had. I remember one family in India in particular who they just loved, the little boy just loved white people and tourists, and he invited us in. The mother gave us some of her fish soup for breakfast and just watched me eat it for 15 minutes and was just so delighted to have shared that with me. And they lived in such a modest, so small house of just cement. But I asked them about all the things in their house, and I got to know them. One of the little girl spoke English, and she told me all about her hopes and dreams, and I told her she could do it, and I was so proud of her. And there was this amazing bond. She did henna on my hand. There was an amazing bond of, we come from two different places, but we are so alike. As I traveled through Morocco, Cambodia, a lot of third world places, I started to realize that if I ever lost my son in those places, I wouldn't hesitate for a second I wouldn't get too scared. If I was in America, I'd be freaking out. Someone stole him, somebody kidnapped him and took him away to a place I'm never going to see him again. But in those places that are Buddhist and Islamic, I was not scared at all. I knew that an old lady or even a man took him in and was trying to give him tea and cookies and was trying to keep him safe from the streets. Like, I knew that that would have happened to him in a heartbeat. I trust the peace and that the people in those countries actually practice their religion of goodness and staying and being good people in life. Those people just exuded that. It was so eye-opening for me to have those experiences of seeing humanity at work, of us taking care of each other. It didn't matter our skin color, our creed, our religion, our beliefs. That's the thing that has changed over the years. Is it used to be like that. We used to choose our community and our people, and then we started putting up borders, and we started implementing government policies, and we started to become divided and decide, well, I'm American, you're Syrian, and that's completely different, and we can't work together, we can't integrate together. That kind of government is wonderful. It does a lot of great things, but it also breaks us down. It breaks us down at the human level. And so I really try to teach my students that we are all citizens of the world, that we all have to make judgments on a very individual basis, because you can't decide how to treat someone based on media. It's a way to push an agenda. It's a way to reach the masses in a way that isn't fit for just you. You have to make decisions on how you treat people based on how they act, their characteristics. Do they deserve that respect? It has nothing to do with poverty or their religion, the way they speak, the color of their skin. That is so important to me to teach my son and to teach future generations and the teenagers of today. And I think that teaching culture and language is a great medium for that, and I love it for that reason, that I teach my students to be multicultural minded and loving and accepting to everyone they meet, as citizens of the world would do.